stupidest person you've ever met, and what story perfectly sums up their stupidity? I used to work with this girl named Heather. She was one of those people you could tell right away had a lot going on, but you tried to give the benefit of the doubt anyway. She was loud, dramatic, and constantly in some new kind of trouble. The kind of person who had a new crisis every few days, but always managed to make herself the victim no matter what. She got hired as a cashier at the same retail store I was working at part-time during college. She wasn't great at the job, slow at the register, always asking people to cover her shifts last minute, always running late, but she wasn't bad enough to get fired right away either, just barely coasting. One morning, she showed up with a cast on her arm. It was one of those hard fiberglass ones, bright pink with little hearts drawn on it in Sharpie. The rest of us asked what happened, and she told us her boyfriend had pushed her during a fight and she fell against the coffee table. She said it really casually, like it wasn't a big deal, like she was almost proud of the drama, but the rest of us were horrified. Management pulled her aside to ask if she was okay, if she needed resources, if she wanted to file a report or anything. She declined everything, said it was just a bad night and they were working on it. She talked about how passionate they both were, how sometimes things got intense, but she loved him and he loved her. It was uncomfortable, but she made it sound like it was over, so we let it drop. A week later, she came into the break room while a few of us were eating lunch. She had this wild look in her eyes and said, "So I stabbed Trevor last night." We just froze. One of the guys half choked on his sandwich. She said it so casually, like she was telling us about a new Netflix show. She went on to explain. Apparently she and Trevor had gotten into another fight and she just couldn't take it anymore. So while he was yelling, she grabbed a steak knife and stabbed him in the hand. Not deep, according to her, but enough that he needed a few stitches. She said it with this kind of smug tone, like she was proud of herself for finally standing up to him. Then she laughed and said, "That's what he gets for breaking my arm." At that point, we didn't know what to say. It wasn't even just the violence. It was how casually she treated the whole situation. How she seemed to think it was some kind of power move, like she'd won. A couple people told our manager and HR had a meeting with her, but I guess there wasn't much they could do since it didn't happen on company property. The police never showed up. I don't even know if he pressed charges. She just kept showing up to work like nothing happened. But the part that really took the cake was what came a few weeks later. We were in the stockroom folding returns when she started telling us how she was trying to get pregnant. She said it like it was a secret, like we were all in on something big. She told us that if she got pregnant, Trevor would have to step up and get a job, maybe even propose. That way they could get out of the apartment they hated and move into a house. She genuinely believed that having a baby would fix everything. Someone tried to talk her out of it, reminded her that he was unemployed, unstable, and had already hurt her once. She rolled her eyes and said, "Yeah, but he'll change. He has to. I'll be carrying his kid." 2 months later, she came in crying, puffy face, eyeliner smudged, holding her phone like it had personally betrayed her. She told us she was pregnant. We asked if she was okay. She said Trevor dumped her. He'd packed a bag and walked out the same night she told him. She stood in the back room sniffling, saying, "I don't get it. I thought he'd want to be a dad." Management gave her a couple days off. She came back and acted like nothing happened. She started talking about baby names, posted ultrasound pictures in the break room, told customers about her pregnancy at the register. She still didn't have a plan. Still talked like Trevor would come back any day now and change everything. She got fired a few weeks later for skipping too many shifts. Just stopped showing up after a while. I saw her once, maybe a year later, at a gas station. She looked tired, was holding a toddler on her hip and arguing with someone on speakerphone. She didn't see me. I just got in my car and left. Every time someone asks me about the dumbest person I've ever met, I think of Heather. Not because she wasn't capable of better, but because she was so determined to dig herself deeper into chaos and thought it was clever. Like she was outsmarting the world, when really, she was just setting fire to her own feet.